What's poppin', flock members? It's Birdman1216, back here with some more Reddit content. Those annoying plosives should now be a thing of the past because I just got a brand new pop filter today. Check this one out, you guys are not ready. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. I'd say that deserves a like. Anyways, annoying intros out of the way, please enjoy episode number 10 of r/IDontWorkHereLady. For our first story today I have, she reported me to a manager I don't work for. I work in a building on my college campus, and sometimes I get lucky enough to be assigned a setup shift, aka the shift where you don't have to wear a uniform and instead can wear whatever you feel comfortable, carrying tables and piles of chairs in. It's my favorite kind of shift, and today I decided to wear a jumper I got the other day from my other job. Mostly because it's incredibly soft, but also to do a little bit of self-promotion or whatever. My other job is designing a magazine for student media on campus, and my jumper has the magazine's logo and name on it. It's like a black and gray university jacket, and the logos are embroidered on it in white. My name and position are also on it in white, on the right side of the chest. I was heading home from the shift and wandered into Deal's, which is the Irish equivalent of Poundland for any UK folks. I'm American, and I don't know what either of those places are, so if you're American, just pretend with me, to get some cheap snacks for the evening. The Deal's uniform is usually this plain black fleece thingy with the Deal's logo, but some staff wear a plain black polo when it's warm. I should also point out that I fit into the apparent demographic for hire in my local Deal's, young, clearly a student, and full of exhaustion and self-hatred. I suppose that's what made this lady assume I was working there. I'm poking through a basket trying to find my favorite flavor of a particular snack when I hear someone clearing their throat. Assuming I'm blocking the aisle, I shuffle to the side and say, sorry, still with my hands in the pile of boxes when I hear her say, hey, can you help me? I look up expecting her to be an older woman or something who maybe wouldn't have seen the giant logo of another company splashed across my back, but no, she's younger than my mum for sure. Blonde, tall, clutching a handbag I could probably fit my whole body into. However, I'm still in the customer service mode for my actual job, so I smile and tell her, sure, what do you need? I'm looking for the clothing section, but this place is huge, can you show me where it is? I give her directions. The shop isn't that big. You can actually see the first racks of disgustingly tacky jackets from where I'm standing, and turn back to the basket, but almost instantly she coughs again. Are you not going to bring me there? I face her again and tell her, well, I don't actually need clothes right now, so I wasn't heading that way, no. She glares at me. What kind of customer service is that? Where's your manager? Now I'm confused because she clearly got my name from my jumper, but right under where it says my name, it has the word designer, a position which I'm fairly certain doesn't exist in Deal's. However, her raised voice has made an actual employee come over to see what the problem was. She demands to see the manager, so within a few minutes, a pretty flustered looking woman comes striding down the aisle. What's going on here then? This employee has been incredibly rude and I wanted to report the behavior. The manager looks at me, clearly just as confused as I am. I'm sorry, what? I asked for assistance and was basically told to handle it myself. This is bad customer service. At this point, I'm just shrugging at the manager behind the lady's back. She clearly makes a decision to uphold my shop's image, so she sort of slowly turns to me and says, alright, maybe you should go and do something else while I help this customer. I just nod and leave because honestly I'm starting to get a bit freaked out, and minty toffee fee isn't worth it. The manager did find me in the drink section after and apologize, but it wasn't really her fault. The lady just clearly ignored that I wasn't wearing the uniform. If I had been working there, I think she would have been in the right, so I wasn't mad or anything. It just freaked me out because I've never been in that position before. I just want to know what this woman thought designer meant in terms of this store, because it doesn't sound like a store that would even hire someone in the position of a designer. Quitting a week prior and seeing a regular. This was back in 2017 over the summer. I had put in my 2 weeks notice about 3 weeks prior to this happening at a very well-known home improvement store where all the employees were wearing their signature orange aprons. This guy comes in and had recognized me because he had seen me out in the lot pushing carts as I was hired as a lot attendant. In simple terms, I was the cart boy. Now normally I'm a bit of a bottom pusher and today was no exception. He came out to the garden section of the business and saw me and my old coworker chatting and became furious. This was the conversation that follows. DB equals douchebag, O equals my old coworker, OB equals old boss, and well, me. How about instead of standing around, you help me find where the grass seed is? I don't work here, dude, but it's right around the corner over there, as I'm pointing right to it. Okay then, crap. As he begins stomping off and heading towards the grass seed, I thought that was the end of it. Oh boy, was I wrong. About a minute passes by, and my old coworker and I chatting and laughing about this guy. He stomps back into the room and screams at me. Hello, this is the worst customer service I've ever gotten at the store. Why don't you take me to it and show me where it is instead of being a lazy a-hole and tell me which one I need? I walk up to this guy and cross my arms over my chest and calmly tell him with the most blank expression on my face. Dude, I don't work here. Do I have to repeat this another time to get it through your thick skull? As I look at my old coworker shrugging my shoulders. At this point he just sighs loudly and walks away, and I walk back over to my old coworker and ask her for the store phone. I call the garden department and tell them there's this guy wanting help with grass seed and hand her the phone back. What is that guy's problem? I'm honestly not too sure, but I'll catch you later. I walk into the store and begin getting the things I needed for a project I was doing and began heading up to the front checkout. As I was reaching the front counters, I see this guy yelling at my old boss and demanding I be fired for my rudeness and incompetence. I begin chuckling at this point and continued up to the cashiers. Look, sir, I'm willing to work with you on this. Just tell me what his name was on his apron, and I'll get him up here and have a heart-to-heart. He didn't have an apron on. He was just wearing a camo hat with an American flag fishhook on it. You mean like that? As my old boss was pointing to me. Yes, that's the wonderful person right there. Come here, OP. I happily obliged and walked up with a grin on my face. What's up? Yeah, this guy right here was the rude a-hole. Wow, that's some colorful vocabulary you have. I will ask you to refrain from that language, sir. Now, OP, why did you not help this gentleman find what he needed? Simply put, I don't work here anymore. I'm not obligated. I would have had he not been such an ass. Oh, that's right. No, sir, he doesn't work here anymore. Well, if you knew where it was, why didn't you at least walk me to it then? Well, I called someone for you because I decided to be nice. And you're rude, so maybe ask nicer next time? I raised an arm and pointed over to the grass seed to my favorite person who worked there, knowing he is as sarcastic and even worse than I am sometimes. DB's face began to fluster as he turned around and saw Reginald, obviously a fake name, over by the grass seed, who cocked his head to one side and gave him a half-hearted wave at waist side. DB said he was sorry and began walking over to Reginald. Good luck with your seed, bud. I walked off chuckling, and my old coworker to this day still get a laugh about it. I haven't seen him since, but I chose not to go back to that place because I hated working there. People still don't want to believe it when you tell them you don't work for a company. And I think we all know what store he's talking about with the orange aprons, and it's very obvious to tell when someone is working at the store with the orange aprons. Expressly because they have on the orange aprons. I guess wearing a hoodie, leggings, and Uggs is the new store uniform now. Pretty anticlimactic, sorry. This happened a couple months ago, but it's just so funny that I thought it deserved to be posted here. I was in one of those everything stores with my family at some small strip mall. There's barely ever any customers there, so it was just me, my mom, my two sisters, a small family paying for their crap, the cashier, and another employee, who'd come around every now and then to fix stuff up. Now, keep in mind that the uniform is basically just wear anything, but with a blue marked vest on top with the store name tag. Separated from my family by a few clothing racks, I'm just aimlessly walking around on my phone while grabbing at random clothes. I like how soft new clothes feel. I do that too, so no tea, no shade. K is Karen, M is me. A Karen walks into the store, and lo and behold, I'm standing just a few feet away from the door, while laughing at some cat video on Instagram. Do you work here? At first I didn't hear her, so I continued to watch cat videos while grabbing at random articles of clothing. Excuse me, I asked if you worked here. Oh hey. No, sorry. Now, this is where it stops making sense. Oh, I mean, you were just walking around and browsing, so I thought you worked here. Amused but dumbfounded by the logic behind her assumption. Yeah, that's what customers do. I'm dressed in my PJs. Do I look like I work here? Okay, sweetie, you know what? Just keep on doing you. Don't let this darken your day. Confused, amused, and certainly not offended, I simply turned around and went back to my cat videos, wondering exactly what sets off people that feel this entitled. I slowly navigated through the store, this time on FaceTime with my boyfriend. As I walked down the knockoff perfume aisle, Karen appeared out of absolutely nowhere and shoved past me. The aisle was wide enough for 3 people to walk through, and she clearly had no reason to walk down that aisle, since she didn't even stop to look at anything. On FaceTime, my boyfriend asked if my sister said something, because he heard someone mumble, "Stupid person." I realized it was Karen and walked towards my family, completely shocked at the extent a person would go to be that petty. Honestly, I'm thankful that I was tired as frick because I and my mom would have ripped Karen's head off. She ended up leaving the store without buying anything. You gotta be pretty miserable to go out of your way to call someone a stupid person when they're just minding their own business. I mean, if anyone in the situation is a stupid person, it's Karen. And finally, apparently Office Depot wears blue now. So I'm gonna try to keep this short. Apologies if it's not. This is actually a funny story, unlike some of the more dramatic entries I see on this page. I had just left the Army Career Office and was wearing a navy blue polo with dark gray slacks because I wanted to look good today. No name tag, overshirt, or apron. I stopped at Office Depot for some school supplies since it was across the street. As I shopped, I was carrying merchandise in my hands and had my purse around my shoulder, so you would think that would be enough to tell people that I'm a customer. But as I'm pursuing binders, an old man approaches me and gestures to a pallet of merchandise. He said without hesitation, "Do you know the price of this?" It took me a moment before I realized he thought I was an employee, and I was trying to figure out if this was some weird riddle or pop quiz. Then I remembered this subreddit, and I realized that I was essentially wearing a glorified Walmart uniform, which apparently is universal "I work here" attire. He paused, then gestured again at the merch, which had no price tag. I could tell he was about to say the age-old, "It doesn't have a price tag, so it must be free, right?" I have heard that line dozens of times, like anyone else who's ever worked in retail, so I sensed it right away, like ex-employee spidey senses activated. I tried to interrupt him, explaining that I didn't work here. He got as far as, "There's no tag," and then stopped and stared at me for a moment, realized I had a purse on and was wearing the completely wrong colors, and just sort of fell silent. I could see him trying to figure out how to recover, and then he said, with a smile, "Well, I just thought you knew everything, I'm sorry." I couldn't help but laugh, and I told him that I'm a medical student, so almost but not quite. He chuckled, apologized, and walked up to his wife to find an actual associate. So I went to go find my husband so that we could check out. I was about to tell him this funny story, but literally as I opened my mouth, another older gentleman came up behind me and said, "Do you know where I can find magnifying glasses?" He was looking at me, but he had kind of glanced at my husband, who was wearing a checkered overshirt, a band t-shirt, and jeans, so definitely not an employee. Maybe he assumed my husband was a customer? I sort of couldn't believe this was happening twice in less than 5 minutes, but I quickly and politely explained to him that I didn't work there. He apologized and started to trot off. This is where my always overly helpful husband, I love him, don't get me wrong, said, "I think I know where those are," and promptly led the man in the wrong direction. At this point I'm trying not to laugh out loud, and finally coaxed my husband into just letting the man go, ask an employee, so we can check out. When I got to the counter, I realized that the employees were all wearing bright red t-shirts and white aprons. I genuinely can't understand how 2 people in a row mistook me so easily for something so opposite. Oh, the joys of senility. But it was funny and gave us some laughs. Just thought I would share. I can definitely relate to the husband in this story because I'm that kind of person. I try to be overly helpful most of the time and end up leading people astray. Well everyone, that's all the time I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. We did just hit 2,000 subscribers the other day, and that's absolutely insane. I started this channel on a whim just to have fun, and to see it grow this quickly is absolutely crazy. Also, that voice crack was pretty cute, so I would appreciate it if you left a like for that voice crack, and also hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I'm thinking about doing a Q&A for hitting 2,000 subscribers, so if you have any questions you'd like me to answer in a future video, then let me know in the comments below. And as always, links to all the original stories can be found in the description box below.